John, a cautious homeowner, spotted hooded figures creeping across his property, heart pounding. Gripping his phone, he knew he had no choice but to call the police. As John whispered his address to the dispatcher, a bone-chilling realization washed over him, leaving him paralyzed with fear. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. John was looking out of the window himself now and saw the strangers in the distance. If these people had wanted to cross without being seen, they could have easily managed that. It seemed like they had no problem being spotted. Under the law, he now had every right to just shoot these people on sight for trespassing. They were lucky that he had absolutely no intention of doing that. Who knows if they intended to come to his house where only he and his defenseless daughter were. John decided to call the police. He needed help and they were the only option he could think of. He explained his situation to the officer answering the phone, but he felt like the man was not taking him entirely seriously. He had a house with a very large plot of land near the mountains, mainly because he wanted to get away from other people. Nobody was willing to come out here to help him, so he had to figure this out on his own. Unsure of what to do next, John started to speculate about what the people could be doing here. They had to know that they were on forbidden terrain. His whole property was closed off by a large fence. They had to have either cut through it or climbed over the fence, but that was sadly not the case. He went to a window on the second floor from where he could see the trespassing party. They were still sitting on John's terrain without a care in the world, and it angers him greatly. He took a deep breath, pointed his pistol to the sky, and fired one round. The sound of the gun going off echoed for miles around, and the people on the terrain immediately reacted. They were clearly shaken by the loud noise. But they did not run away as John hoped so much. Their attention was now fully on the house. Getting away, he felt like his only option here was to get his daughter, get in his car, and flee as far away from here as possible. But that would mean abandoning his house, abandoning his safe haven, the place he had spent so long building. This was everything he had, and just leaving this behind out of fear seemed like the biggest surrender in the world. But he was also not alone in the decision, which she had no problem doing, of course. But when she saw her father's expression, she knew that things were very serious. Of course, she had seen the hooded people first, but did not think much of it. And when she heard that they were now on their way here, her first instinct was not to be afraid, but to just ask them what they wanted. Something that John considered a really bad idea. Who knows what these people were capable of? And coming face to face with them, it was the last thing he wanted. John immediately thought back to the fact that if he had a pistol, they could also easily be carrying, and they now had a possible incentive to use it. He still had the pistol in his pocket, just to be sure, stashed away so that Samantha did not see it, because, of course, she wanted to come along for this. There was a smile on her face, and you could really feel her optimism. John took a deep breath and poked his head out of the window, but to his shocked surprise, he did not see the people anymore. Still reeling from the initial shock, the loose fabric seemed to flutter eerily with the gentle breeze, hinting at a hurried departure. Why would anyone leave their robes here? John mused aloud, anxiety punctuating his voice as he considered the implications of these abandoned garments. Drawing himself closer to the window, he meticulously examined the surroundings. Each tree, each shadow, every conceivable hiding place. The moonlight provided faint illumination, casting eerie silhouettes on the ground. Despite this, there was no sign of the hooded figures. Panic began to bubble up within him, its grip tightening with each passing second. Could they be in the forest, watching, waiting? He pondered. The idea that the strangers could have slipped past him and into the house was becoming increasingly hard to dismiss. What if they're inside already? Sam, listen to me, John implored, his voice both firm and gentle. Go to your room and lock the door. He could see the confusion and growing fear in her eyes, but there wasn't time to explain. Quickly ushering her inside, he repeated, Stay inside no matter what you hear. This pocket seemed heavier now. He hesitated, considering whether to give it to Samantha. It would offer her a chance at self-defense, but he might be left vulnerable. The house's oppressive silence was punctuated only by John's own breath and heartbeat. He pressed his ear to walls and doors, trying to pick up on any sound, any giveaway. John couldn't help but feel like a stranger in his own home. The walls, the decor, the memories, all seemed veiled in a mist of suspicion. He felt like he was treading through an alien landscape, every step fraught with uncertainty. Methodically, John moved from room to room, the pistol gripped tightly in his hand. He examined closets, peeked behind curtains, and even checked under the beds. Taking a deep breath, John steadies himself at the top of the stairs. One step at a time, he murmurs to himself, attempting to control the unease threatening to consume him. The descent begins, each step echoing a cacophony of doubt and determination, but John is resolute. A nagging thought keeps repeating, "You're being watched." He whirls around frequently, scanning for unseen eyes, but the eerie silence only intensifies the paranoia. It's time to face whatever lurks out there, he resolves, stepping into the unknown. The darkness outside is overwhelming as John's eyes struggle to adjust. Every rustle of leaves and a whisper of wind magnifies his anxiety. He approaches the robes once more, stooping to examine them in greater detail. As he stands up, John notices a subtle imprint on the grass. A footprint, perhaps. He cautiously begins to follow the series of faint marks, hoping they'll shed light on the stranger's route. John hesitates, debating whether he should venture inside. Memories of old tales about the forest, filled with secrets and spirits, surface in his mind, making his decision even more daunting. Returning to the robes one last time, John's hand brushes against something hard beneath him. Curiously, he lifts the garment, revealing a small, ornate box securely locked. What secrets does this hold? John ponders as he carefully picks up the box, feeling its weight and sensing the gravity of the enigma it might unlock. As John's gaze drifts from the box to the ground, he's taken aback by the sight of a metal ring, partially covered by dirt and foliage. He tugs at it, revealing a hidden hatch he never knew existed. How long has this been here, and how have I never noticed? He thinks, puzzled. Despite the risks, the urge to unveil its mysteries grows exponentially. Answers lie beneath, he reasons, the box in his hand serving as a tangible link to this newfound enigma. Each step echoes in the confines of the tunnel, mingling with the rhythmic pounding of his heart. The weight of the earth above and the dampness of the air intensify the gravity of his descent. The winding stairway eventually levels off into a narrow corridor. At the end, an aged wooden door stands as the guardian of yet another mystery. John halts, pressing his ear against it. There they are, the hooded figures, standing around an intricately carved stone table, their attention focused on a shimmering object in its center. They don't seem startled by John's entrance. Rather, they almost seem to have expected him. Piece of Land had been a vessel of dreams, a silent participant in the clandestine dance of destinies. He imagines the countless souls who'd passed through, each with a unique story, aspiration, and hope. This realization dawns upon him. His property was not just a piece of land, but a repository of dreams.